Final segment of the show. It's been a lot of fun breaking down this BYU and SMU win. That was an absolutely crazy game. If you missed any of the show, we'll have the full show up on our podcast feed, Cougar Sports Saturday, wherever you get podcasts. Talked a lot of football, Mitch. There is a basketball story we need to get to here in Cougar Tales.
That's right. Mihailo Boskovic commits to BYU. He will be playing this season for the Cougars, and it's kind of interesting, his commitment announcement. It was in a chair, like it was a Blues Clues segment, and he's just sitting in a chair and announces the royal blue. He says, "Hello, Cougar Nation. This is Mihailo Boskovic, BYU basketball forward." I'm like, this is way different than a Tipton edit or Hayes Fawcett edit, but I liked it nonetheless. And Kevin Young continues to work, man. And look, they get Mbop around July, and you thought at that moment, okay, roster's done, it's complete. Mbop's never been officially announced by BYU, and there's still kind of questions what's going to happen there. But the thing is that it's a great problem to have, where if they do have him, you can, with NIL clearly, with Royal Blue Collective, Mihailo Boskovic comes in, and this was a guy that had NBA workouts this past spring and summer. What a get once again for KYU and this Kevin Young basketball program.
And his addition, Mitch, I think alleviates any concerns about being undersized. Because before his addition, you'd say, who's going to have to play stretch four at times that maybe is not an ideal fit for that role? Last year we saw it a lot with Richie Saunders, where he's playing some threes, some fours, and you're like, four for Richie, that's a bit of a stretch. Yeah. And he did fine. He's a great defender, but it's not ideal. But now you have Foose, who's still a little undersized. You've got Keita, who I think is also, from a size perspective, a little undersized, but he's got insane, freaky ability and can jump out the gym, and he plays much bigger than he is. But then you have a lot more versatility and options because you got Boskovic at 6'10", Demon, well, he's 6'9", 6'10", right in that range. 6'9", yeah. So Catchings is big as well. He's probably never going to play the four, but you have a lot more length and a lot more size and a lot more options and versatility. So this is a huge get, and I think it's also underrated too, Mitch. This is a 22-year-old guy coming in, which BYU's familiar with RMs and guys that are a little older at BYU. That's a story we make fun of this story because, BYU's so old and so mature, but he's played a lot of ball. Like, this isn't a true freshman coming in who's going to have to adjust to a different level of play. This guy's already played at a high level. And so I think it's going to be a seamless fit to BYU. I think he'll play a fair amount. I don't know if he starts or not. We'll have to see. But another big international addition for BYU hoops, and it really does feel like the roster's not complete. We know who's going to be a part of this group, and it feels like there is so much depth and so many options. Like, how is this not a tournament team?
I agree, and this addition makes me feel like BYU is knocking on the door of being a top 25 team entering the season. I still kind of feel like they're 6th or 7th, but he in the Big 12.
Hey, that's fine though.
Oh yeah, no, I think Cincinnati is going to be really good with their veteran team, but BYU is in a position to be a top 25 team, I think, knocking on the door entering the season. And there's real juice to the program on the recruiting trail right now with this program. And BYU, it's just taken off with Kevin Young, and it continues to just the excitement towards the first practice. They're doing the 1-hour sessions leading up to training camp, but they get it going September 24th. And this will probably be the most anticipated BYU basketball season that I can ever remember. And it's going to be a big year for BYU basketball. It's hard to imagine them not making the NCAA tournament.
Can I sneak one more story in quick? Back to football. I don't know if you noticed this, but this might answer some fans' questions. And this is by no means a referendum on the here and now. This is just way down the road. Who knows what happens? But the Church Newsroom. Did you see this little nugget by the Church Newsroom?
I did.
Another Latter-day Saint joined the Philadelphia Eagles in the offseason when Kellen Moore was hired as the offensive coordinator. So now I think that's a question a lot of fans have wondered. Is this guy a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or not? And the Church Newsroom, that it doesn't get much more reputable than that when it comes to church news, saying that Kellen Moore, he's squarely an option down the road. I'm not saying make a change anytime soon, but I thought that was kind of an interesting little nugget that Kellen Moore is a potential candidate. And Steve Young earlier in the week on Boise Radio was saying he'd love to see him eventually as to be just kind of interesting.
It was interesting, and it's a name that goes to the big board, with Jay Hill and Kellen Moore, because you always have to have that succession plan, because if Kalani ever ups and leaves, you get to that point with coaches where they get to about year 8, year 9, year 10. That's where Kalani's at right now. Sometimes coaches overextend their welcome, and the voice just kind of grows stale. With Kalani's, it feels like it's still kind of a new voice because of the challenge of the Big 12. But still, they're 2-0. But at BYU, you always have to know the big board. You always have to know.
It's a small board.
Right. You always have to know the coaches and who could be the potential next thing. And then just to have the Church Newsroom say, member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Kellen Moore, there you go. And who could be the Kevin Young one day of BYU football? That's probably your guy, Kellen Moore. So that would be that. It is an interesting tidbit that's kind of food for thought down the road whenever that day maybe comes that, BYU has to find a new head coach. But that's going to do it for this edition of Cougar Sports Saturday. It's been a fun show. Again, the Cougs 2-0 on the season. They take down SMU last night in Dallas. We will be live Monday night, Cougar Nation, 6 to 7, taking your phone calls and getting your reaction to BYU's big win in Big D. Talk to you on Monday night here on KSL News Radio.